and thank you for joining us today on this very interesting webinar that we are going to have. Just a small introduction about Agni, those who are not aware of. Agni is a alumni association of Nikmarians, as the name suggests, Association of Global Nikmarian. It's a closely knit group of around now 6,000 plus alumni span world, linked through various medium platforms, and are constantly working together to bring a change in the overall construction industry and the way we work in this real estate scenario. Today we have three very learned panelists with us. Most of you are well aware of them and are may have worked with them in some way or the other. We have Mr. Vishal Gupta, who is MD Ashiana. We have Mr. Tushar Mittal, who is heading the SKV StudioCon Ventures, and the most senior of all, I think, Mr. Samir Nair, CEO of Build Supply. He has been the founding member of the Build Supply. So I now quickly, without wasting any more time, I'll quickly hand over it to Tushar to lead this webinar and give an insight about all the things that we are eagerly looking for, that is entrepreneurship. Over to you, Tushar.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you very much. Welcome to everyone. Ashish, would you like to give Agni presentation also while people are joining the room?
I think that will do at the end probably.
Okay.
Anjali will join us for that.
Great. Thank you, Ashish, and thank you all Agni members and Agni executive team who has decided to start this webinar series for learning and connecting at this time. I think this COVID situation has given us immense pressure and tensions, but same time immense opportunity to learn and connect with the industry and people. Here I would like to welcome Samir Nair and Vishal over this platform. And Samir, Samir has worked for 5 years for Moody's, and post that he worked for Credit Suisse 12 years. And he was MD for real estate, and post that he started his entrepreneurship in real estate tech, we can say prop tech. Vishal, he is MD of Ashiana Housing. He comes from a very traditional real estate background, and he took took over the business from his family and started. And right now, business innovation and interesting way of doing business. He is right now doing 100x of his business. Vishal, thank you for coming on this panel. I myself, I have worked I have worked for 1.5 years with one of the prime real estate companies. So you can say I have a very less working experience in any corporate. But in 2008-9, I started this venture called StudioCon Ventures Private Limited, and overall around 10 years of my working experience. And I'm here to serve you today and get maximum about entrepreneurship. So the topic today says that entrepreneurship is not only a job, it is an achievable mindset. So fundamentally what we are trying to understand over here is like most of the people misunderstood that entrepreneurship is starting your own business or doing something your own. My friends, I feel entrepreneurship is a mindset. And me, Samir and Vishal, when we were discussing about that, everybody in any situation doing your own business or doing for somebody else, working as a CEO or working as a management trainee, you can be an entrepreneur. Because entrepreneurship, again, in my view, it is a purely mindset, how you think, how differently you think, how extraordinary you think, and how you innovate. And I think this COVID-19 situation is putting us to become entrepreneurs, pressurizing us to become more innovative, more thoughtful, more, thinking extra mile, going extra mile, and solving the problem. So, guys, again, I would like to invite Samir to give his story, give his life insight, how he started his entrepreneurship journey and left a very successful career.
Great. Thank you, Tushar. And it's great to see everyone here. I'm glad Tushar actually took the initiative to put this together. As he mentioned, in the environment of COVID, we're all stuck inside our homes, and it is not a natural situation for us. To kind of get together with everyone like this and discuss and talk about things that are important for you, I think is a great initiative. So thank you, Tushar, for doing that, and thank you, Vishal, for joining in. I'm actually I'm a professional by training, professional by my career for almost 17, 18 years. And the entrepreneurial bug really bit me very late in life. So I'm a lot older than everybody else on this panel, as you can probably see with a lot of white hair on my face. But the interesting thing is that after I left my career in investing, which was a very long career on Wall Street, I actually took a few years off, and I basically did all the things that I really had wanted to do for the previous 17, 18 years, but could not do because, working in any professional environment is like basically running on a treadmill, and you just cannot get off, and you don't get the time to really even, sit back and think about that. What do I really want? Your ambition takes over everything else in your life, your happiness, your family, it's just that's the kind of structure it is. And taking that 2 or 3 years off really gave me a good time to actually sit back and think about what really I want to do now in my second phase of my life, right? Which is which was more driven by kind of trying to figure out what is possible within this space, which is the construction and real estate space. I thought a lot about it, and I said, it's probably no good if I want to go and start an electric vehicle company. I have no competency in that. I know nothing about that. So whatever I'm going to do has to be within the real estate, construction, and infra space. And it's an industry which is which is really quite antiquated, if you can call that. We do our work very much the same way as we've been probably doing it for the last 50, 60 years. So the thought really was that, can we do something to change that? And I'll tell you, there's always an inflection point when you take a major decision in your life. And for me, it was actually at one point, while in that 2 or 3 year period, I was actually reading this book on Steve Jobs. And, of course, he's an iconic figure, and, he's really just created this amazing company. And, it's an 800-page book by Walter Isaacson. And I read that cover to cover in about 4 days. And then I literally sat back and I said to myself, I said, here's an individual, a human being, who essentially went out and changed, 4 different industries and changed them like completely, upside down, whether it was music, whether it was telephones, whether it was computers. He literally turned all the conventional wisdom upside down. So I said, if we're going to do something, if there's a dream that you have, that you really want to do something, then do it at a scale, or at least think about it at a scale that essentially changes the paradigm. And that was the inflection point for me, where I said, enough of talking and thinking, I really want to do this. And that's when I took the jump into starting Build Supply, and which, has been a fantastic journey for the last 4 years. We've really, it's been amazing how, interested people are in technology. And the fact is that there are not enough technology solutions out there, especially homegrown ones, because every market is different. You can't take a tech solution from the US and implement it in India and say that that's going to work. So you have to build something from the ground up. So it's been a fantastic journey so far. But like another famous guy said, it's always day one for us. We're still trying to, every day we get up and we say, okay, now what can we do differently? And, how do we take it to the next level? So early days in the journey, but very exciting.
Thank you, Samir, giving us, your journey about your entrepreneurship. There are 2 entrepreneurs, people, those who keep thinking, those who keep challenging environment around them. I think, I feel like those are the entrepreneurs. There is no definition. There is no definition for, when or where or how you should start your journey. I think anytime you can start. Samir, before I jump to Vishal, I would like to ask you one thing. what was the kick point? Like, ek hota na, like you get some point where you think like, oh, I want to just leave this, corporate life. You are a managing director of real estate of credit, so it's a good, very respected position. To leaving that position, getting salary I think 6-7 figures, and then leaving that comfort. What was the point? Like it was any circumstances, it was any kind of financial issue, or maybe some out of the box, like you are a rock star, man. So might be you have seen something and then you started thinking about the entrepreneurship.
No, that's a great question, and I'll tell you the honest answer was, when I started my career, and so in some ways I think that bug was always in me. So when I started my career, I used to tell people that I will not work in a job for more than 5 years. So that 5 became 10, and the 10 became 15, and I was in the middle of the global financial crisis when Lehman happened. The bankruptcy of Lehman happened, and there was, I was running Asia at that time. We had a very large book of business across Japan and China. We had close to about $8 billion invested. During that period of time, again, I mean, I had actually kind of thought about, okay, now I'm going to do it. And finally, because of that Lehman crisis, I did not want to leave, right after that, because there was a lot of investing that we had done that I wanted to see through. And that happened. It took about 4 to 5 years of, work to get that out of the way. But so it wasn't like one day I kind of got up and said, this is it. There was something that I had been thinking about for a while. It was only at some point when you kind of get to a point and you say, okay, now I'm ready. But frankly, even then I was not ready, obviously, because it took me another 2 or 3 years after that. So I don't think there's any good day to start. I think the day you feel like this is my day, you just go ahead and do it. And, so it's just a matter of individual circumstances in terms of, how long it could potentially take for you.
Interesting, Samir. I think, I've met a lot of professionals, those who are, and I meet every day, like, a lot of people, those who come and then they discuss, like, I'm thinking to do something, but these are the problems, these are the issues, and they keep, rethinking. I think it's an interesting context. Vishal,
so the one thing that I would add to that is, and this is something that, I think it's very important to think about, if people on this, call are thinking about becoming entrepreneurs, if you're going to do it because you think that it's going to make you a lot of money, that is probably the wrong place to start. If you want to be an entrepreneur, have a dream, have a vision, have, something that you want to do to change the world or change, the space that you're in, or the company that you're in. Because if your sole idea is that, hey, I'm going to become an entrepreneur and make a lot of money, I think you're dead on arrival. The first day itself, you won't work. And that, I think, is a very important issue.
Yeah. Thank you, Samir. Thank you. Vishal, I would like to ask you that, again, like before I identify the type of entrepreneurship, there are no fixed definition. But I say that, Samir is well thought entrepreneur. He has spent 17 years in industry. He understood the market, he understood the tricks, and then finally, after thinking a lot, he became an entrepreneur. Vishal, you took over the business from the family, and I'm sure you were in a comfort zone, and I'm sure there are responsibilities and liabilities to fulfill. But at the same time, you did well, and you created Ashiana Housing today what it is. So, would you like to highlight your journey about this?
Yeah, so Tushar, even when you were talking, I was thinking about it. एक तो हम लोग को थोड़ा सा head start मिल गया. Now, being a part of the business family, you're always seeing your father, grandfather, chachas always talk about business. बचपन से ये mind में clear था कि यार business करेंगे. ये एक thought process था और इतना closely देखते थे. And my father was he chose not to join the family business, and he started a business on his own. So he struggled a lot. So we saw that kind of struggle that he went through. I mean, having, he rode a scooter for the longest time despite the family having cars, because he said, I want to make it on my own. So उस तरह का struggle हम लोगों ने महसूस किया. So I think that was a great learning experience. And then when I came back from college, when I joined business, we had multiple locations. तो पापा ने बोला कि यार भिवाड़ी तुम संभालो, ये रहा चेकबुक, वो ऑफिस है. He was busy with some other things. तो एक तरीके से मेरे को स्विमिंग पूल में उठा करके फेंक दिया, अब तैरना सीख जाओ.
Great.
So it was like a different kind of a journey for me. शुरू में तो मुझे समझ में नहीं आता था कि काम क्या करना है. कभी कभी घर आ जाता था, वापस नहीं जाता था काम पे. It was a strange. While I was from that business family, I didn't know what to do. So I started finding my feet on the ground. The first and the foremost thing that I realized that business is about people. And my first thing was that, and Ashiana was made of lot of dedicated staff who worked in the company as owners. They were with Ashiana from the beginning of the career. When I had joined, people were already working for Ashiana for 10, 15 years. So first I wanted to make my place in the business to really find something that I get respected for. And that was my struggle. And the area that I think I really found my space, and when I started working a lot with customers. I was every day with customers. I was ferrying customers to site. I was talking to them. I was meeting them. So there was a huge amount of learning that I got from my customers. And in the process, I discovered my passion for design. So I started leading my business with innovation in design and services. And I think that was a real inflection point for me. I really enjoyed the end product. Real estate, you see a lot of your built product. So that was really, really very satisfying. I remember a lady coming and telling me that, Vishal, तुम्हारे बनाए हुए घर में honesty की खुशबू है जो लोगों को यहाँ लेके आ जाएगी. Now that kind of comment and that kind of, it drives a different level of passion in you to keep doing better work. I think that really was, so I found my passion, I found my purpose, and then I started enjoying it, and I won my respect of my people, and I think that really helped me grow the business.
Great, Vishal. I think it's a interesting story which I heard from you, and I think a lot of people think like, I think there are 250 people are in the room, and I think people are struggling to join. I think some technical issues happening, but most of the people think that when you take business from your family, it is very easy to run the business. This is I think a misunderstanding most of the people have. But when you take over your business and how innovatively you multiply and hold that business, that is called true entrepreneurship. Because I believe, like, I've met a lot of entrepreneurs, businessmen across the globe. I feel when you start fresh, like Samir or me or like anybody, you have no liability. You have no pressure of performance. When you take business from a family, there is a standard benchmark. This much is already there. You have to go further to that. You have to make double or triple, but you can't go lesser. What is your experience about that? What do you feel like, that pressure was also with you, or?
So, Tushar, I had one advantage. I think my father was very forward-looking. He was also a technocrat. He was a civil engineer from BITS Pilani, did his master's in computers from the US. And he had he had been running the business with a lot of values and ethics. So, the part that was easy, when we go to college, we all want to go change the world and, do things honestly and find an honorable way to work. I think that fell into place very quickly. So that was one challenge I didn't have to go through. Obviously, but my dad was a self-made man and extremely strong. He had built the business on his own. So I think there was a real challenge of first kind of proving myself both to the organization and to him to make any kind of changes. And so there was a constant struggle between saying that, this looks like a nice idea, but we are all marketing, we're all in sales. I had to market it to my people, I had to market it to my dad. I learned it the hard way, but it took time. So that was the big struggle, really, to kind of win his and people's respect that yes, what you are saying has some merit in it.
Vishal, I see in Ajiana Housing, like the way other developers are working. I see follow your page, and I see every day that some skill development is happening. The kind of old age homes kind of initiative you have taken. I'm talking to you first time in that that conversation. I'm a big fan of your innovation in marketing and the kind of trust you have built with your your client. I think it's amazing that in real estate market where everybody is struggling to make the trust and kind of in name and credibility, you guys are already there. So I think it's a true entrepreneurship in my sense, guys.
Tushar, just want to correct, we do senior living, not old age homes.
Oh, sorry.
There is a big difference. Senior living is largely a lifestyle product.
Yes.
And so sorry, because there are so many viewers, and I think it's a very big emerging market in India. We are a young country, but I think this is an area that a lot of people, and because we have so many people from Nikmar here, I think there's going to be opportunity in that stream for a lot of people going forward.
And Vishal, I would compliment you because I have some members of my extended family living in some of your facilities, and they only have very great things to say about it. So kudos.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So Tushar, maybe we move the conversation to you a little bit. You call yourself a circumstantial entrepreneur. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey? Because I think it's actually fantastic what you have built in the last 10 years, 12 years. So it'll be great to hear for everyone.
Thank you, Samir, for asking this question. I think a lot of my seniors and kind of alumni from Nikmar is also here. I'll just give you a very crisp idea, what happened. And so I belongs to a very small village in Rajasthan, and my father, my family is a small business they are running in Rajasthan. You can say I'm a childhood entrepreneur, so in very childhood days when I used to read a lot of comics. So whenever I get comics, I started renting those comics. When I need a good bicycle, if I'm not getting money, then I buy a bicycle on loan, and I started renting that bicycle to my friends. So I think since childhood, you can say I'm a frugal innovator. In a sense, when I came in Kota, when I did my engineering, I was like average in my studies. So I know that I'm not going to be an IAS officer, or maybe I will not be selected in campus. So I started looking at some extracurricular activities, and I was very good at coordinating. I was very good at managing things. So fundamentally, I got to know about how to connect with people, and I think a lot of my professors helped me to build my kind of journey over there. I did run a canteen in my college days, and it was very successful venture to run my college days expenses. And post that, when I came and selected for Nikmar Delhi, I was always keen to start my own, and I was always thinking, what should I do? But capital was a problem. But when I got a job in DLF, it's a prime real estate company, and when I started as a management trainee in 2006, 2007, there was a good time when a lot of IT companies in the service sector was growing in India, and DLF was doing a lot of fit outs for large multinationals, and I see a huge opportunity in the market. Opportunity in sense, huge work were happening, and there was very less professional contractors were in the market. Like you name 3-4, and I was dealing most of the time with them, and I find like there is a very huge transactional kind of things are happening. There's very less, which is, you can say, innovation, or which you can say like people were signing the contracts, but people were not establishing the relationship. Very less professionals were there in the system, and truly said, I will say very honestly that I was going through a very huge financial crisis also. I took a lot of loans for my studies, for my college, for my Nikmar, and people started calling me for repay. So I was like having huge pressure. Then I thought, like, instead of just struggling every day, let's start something. And then when I left my job, I was getting around 17,000 rupees per month. So I thought, if I start something extra, something new, I think I will earn that much, definitely. And that was the kick point when I started thinking about this entrepreneurship. And in 2008, I got opportunity. I started with someone. And, again, I will say that before I jump to the next question or next discussion, that time was 2008 when, the recession was happening. And every damn big company was struggling to survive. And I think I am seeing the same situation right now. I will say, importantly, to start the business was not important. To get that entrepreneurship instinct and thinking was very important. While I was working in that company, I find like there are a lot of left out works, which my peer or my senior was looking to get it completed. People were thinking that, why should I do? And I took that opportunity. I think this is very big lesson of my life, that go extra mile, think little extra, think whatever problems around you. You just try to find out the problem. People try to find out the solutions. In my views, I always say, in your business, in your profile, in your job, try to find out the problems around you. I think the problem is a root cause of any idea. And then when you start solving that problem or go extra mile, research, do Googling, then you find out some solutions. So that problem, nearby me, that all contractors, a lot of suppliers were, not fulfilling the commitment, not fulfilling that, the trust. I find like it's a good opportunity. Why don't I start from here? So that's how I got into this entrepreneurship journey. So I would say that, what three stories? Yes, Amir, over to you.
No, go ahead. Finish up.
So I think it is not about starting something. I think I was born entrepreneur, and when I was working in that company in 1.5 years, what I learned, I think it will take 5 years to learn, because I was not only bothered about to do my own job, only assigned to me. I was ready to do anybody's job. I remember like I was ready to, help my facility guys to how to, set up the dustbin or how to clean dustbin more efficiently, how to get the shoe shiner on, right place. It was not my part of job. It was, I was hired for, managing technical commercial negotiations, or maybe technical or commercial, coordination with the customer. When I started talking to customer, so I was going there to just get the drawings approved. But the customer asked me, Tushar, since last 5 days our HU is not getting, functional, or these problems are coming, can you solve it? I could easily skip from that question that, hey, it is not my problem. You can go to the, technical division, they will help you. But I just took the number from the customer. Okay, guys, I will call you tomorrow and I'll set so that's how within very short time, 1.5 year, I could connect to maximum people in DLF. And today, whatever I am, I think all people have played a role in my life. All the people, those who have, I've connected with them extra mile. Extra mile means like, it was not my job, but I've done work with them. I think today they are all inspiration or helpful.
No, I think that's a great example. There's a saying that all great businesses are built during downturns. And I think your business is a great example of that. My follow-on question to that for you is, did at any point in time in the last 12 years, did you ever think, when things were bad, when things were really going very hard, and you felt like, yaar, maine apne aap ko kahan phasa liya ye kya kar raha hu main? Were there points in time when you said that I'm just going to give this back up and I'll go get a job, because this is too hard? And then how did you kind of overcome that?
I think it's a very interesting question, Samir, and it was not part of our script. So,
so you can expect that from me. Come on, you know me enough now.
So I would be very honest and very candid about it. When you have something to lose, you think about, I will lose it. When you have nothing to lose, then your true entrepreneurship and spirit of true entrepreneurship come in on the way. I always thought that, whatever you are today, or whatever you will be tomorrow, it will be a benchmark which you can make for yourself. So fundamentally, I think there are so many times, there are so many, instances where you feel that what I'm doing, what exactly is, have I decided this life for me? Have I decided this kind of, and I think it is not when your customer is treating you bad. This is not when your vendors are not supporting you. This is not when you are not getting the job. This is when your team is, somehow you people, your family, your team when you feel little less motivated, then this feeling comes in you. But fortunately, I never ever thought to give up, because God has been very kind, and I feel like I fight every day, and whenever I fight, there's a new fight. So let's be ready for the new fight.
नहीं वो हमारे हिंदी में कहते हैं कि अगर धंधा करना है तो रोज सुबह कुआं खोदो और रोज शाम को पानी पियो. So every day is a new challenge that you have to accept. No, but that's great. I think you've done a fantastic job in the last 12 years. So kudos to you on that.
So I would like to just discuss a few things. Before, I would like to request all the members, those who have attended, there are 3 things which I want to advise. Go to gallery view so you can see everyone on the screen. And there is a link we have sent you for the survey. This survey, if you can fill that survey, we will be opening those survey results in next 5-10 minutes. Those survey will help you to build your ideas and your thinking more stronger. But then there will be a data to back up that survey. I request to all of you, please fill the survey if you can. Now, before Samir, I would like to jump to next session, next segment. But before that, I would say that what crux I can get out of this conversation, there are different kind of entrepreneurships, and different kind of people start their ideas, start their business, start their execution. But at the same time, I think one is very well thought of entrepreneurship, which I think you are the right example. There is circumstantial entrepreneurship, which you have already denoted me. And the third one, which we are discussing about Vishal, which I think that entrepreneurship is like your behavioral entrepreneurship. By behaving entrepreneur, you multiply your numbers, you multifold your number. And I think there are so many different ways you can be entrepreneur. You can be entrepreneur within your organization, which I've already said. I can take the example of, right now, if you talk about Tata Sons, and Chandrasekhan, he started as a managing trainee, and he is now, I think, chairman for the Tata Sons. If you take the example of Sundar Pichai, he started from IIT Kharagpur, and now, right now, I think he is one of the most important person on the earth. And people say in Alphabet that they have not relied, the founders of Alphabet, like Google, they said that they have not relied on anyone till today as much they relied on Sundar Pichai. So in my views, and Vishal, I would like to ask you, don't you feel those are also considered to be, I think, great entrepreneurs? I think people, even like N. Chandrasekhan or maybe Sundar Pichai, there are thousands of examples, those who are working in their organizations, but they are behaving like better entrepreneurs. What do you say, Samir, on this?
No, I think that's a great point to be made, which is that to be an entrepreneur, you necessarily don't have to start your own company. I think in every situation you are in every, whether you're in a job or you're in a business, there is opportunity to have an entrepreneurial mindset. I think वो एक सोच है जो वो सोच कहीं भी लगाई जा सकती है. So I would say you gave some great examples of people who have actually succeeded at a very large scale in life. Within structures that are entrepreneurial, but it was not their own company. They were not the founders of that company. And that's something actually, frankly, we also encourage a lot in our company as well. We call them intrapreneurs, they're in the company and they're still having an entrepreneurial mindset. I mean, I'll just give you an example. There's a recent product that we launched for the contractor ecosystem called Material Manager. So when we were thinking about that product 6-7 months ago, and this is, we launched that product in record time, we basically said, okay, here's a business team. And then they really ran it like as if it was their own venture. So they put a business plan together. They went out and did market research. They spoke to contractors. They got customer understanding, customer feedback. And then they were involved in designing the product, building it. And this is a software product. So they were involved in designing it, building it, working with the technology team to actually get that executed, and then even come up with the marketing for it and say, okay, this is how we're going to market this product. This is how we're going to reach out to the customer ecosystem. So it was really almost like a venture company inside a company. So that's a mindset we encourage very much, because I think that gives a level of independence also, and then people are free thinking in that and they think outside the box, and you can be in any situation and you can do that. As I'm sure, Vishal would have many examples in his company as well. But it's very critical to realize that the entrepreneurial mindset is not limited to just stepping out and saying, I want to start a new company. It can be done anywhere.
Yeah, Vishal.
Vishal, I don't know if you have something to add to that. Yeah.
I think very similarly. So for me, entrepreneurship, so, we've always heard of individual contributor, manager, and I think entrepreneur is one step further ahead, and to me, it's really two things that an entrepreneur really does is he identifies people's problems that he can solve, and he musters various resources. Financial resource or human resource or technological resource, or he brings those resources together to solve a particular problem. I think that's really the entrepreneurial thought process, and that's really the mindset. So when you said, Tushar, you were talking to the customer, you heard a problem, you owned it, and then you brought the resources to resolve it.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, I think Vishal, Samir, you have both of you have well summarized. I would like to ask you, both of you, we all face challenges. We all face different situations at business, as you have rightly said, Samir. I would like, Vishal, I would like to ask you, what were the, if you want to summarize your life in 4-5 phases, what was the biggest challenges when you took over from your family and you started your business? As real estate is always, not very, very less trusted business, very less resources, very less skill. What was the biggest 2-3 challenges you faced in your life?
I don't know. I mean, there have been challenges all along, Tushar, but I think the largest challenge has been finding great talent and developing great talent. Wherever we have found great talent and developed great talent, we have come out as winners.
I would completely agree with Vishal. I think the hardest part in terms of being an entrepreneur is building a great team. You have to realize that you alone are not going to be able to do anything by yourself unless you have a great team. No matter how great your idea is, how great your business plan is, you will not be able to execute it unless you have a great team. So I think that's, to me, is the single biggest challenge for any entrepreneur thinking of starting up, is make sure that you spend a lot of time and effort on building a great team. So and everything else frankly follows after that. I mean, the execution after that is simple. If you surround yourself with great people, then things happen.
So I think, in my views, Samir, I think we all three agree on the same point. If I, in my flashback, if I see that what kind of challenges I've faced in 10 years, I think money was the first challenge, like when I was starting my business, but I think it was solved very quickly. People. So money is like a lot of people are asking on the chat window that, about that same thing. I personally feel this financial problems, capital problems can be solved if you make a good trust. Startups are making good trust with the investors, they give money. Okay, in our business, if you have a good trust with your vendors, suppliers, you get money. Am I right? But at the same time, biggest problem, which I think two of you have already decided and discussed, I think creating a trustworthy team, creating an innovative team is the biggest challenge. In my life, I feel like in 10 years, the hardest time, and I think the biggest biggest issue was selecting a right team. In 10 years, I think at each client, each vendor, each person I met, I always looked at from a lens that can I get him or can I invite him in as my team? Whenever I see a very interesting or intelligent person, I always see that can I get him in my team? And I think that helped me a lot. But it was really, really tough because when you are very small, when you are starting, no big professional want to join you. People have a lot of issues of sustainability, survival, and you always get a pushback from right talented people. So I think the advice which I get from two of you, selecting a right team or getting a right team on time, I think is a great important aspect for your any venture. But for my Nikmar colleagues, I would like to give one answer in different term also. Not only this is important to get team members for your company, but I think it's very important to get people around you when you are working for some company. If you get a right team that time, right thinkers around you, right people, those who think alike, those who innovate like as you want to innovate, you search or you do research and they also do that research, you learn from them. I think that is also co-partnership or co-creation of thought leadership. Samir, I think you would like to say something on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think this question has come up a lot in the questions that people are asking. And everybody says that, where do I get the funding to start my business? How do I really get that going? And I have been on the other side of being an investor for a very, very long time. And, we always used to say that money always finds the right opportunities. It's not that the right opportunity has to find the money. If you have a good thought process, good business idea, and good execution, the money will find you. I don't think that will be a challenge, especially in an environment like today. And I think post-COVID, that's actually going to be even more dramatic for the construction industry, because I think, we are seeing, and, we'll probably see that more and more coming from the government sector as well, wherein there is a lot of fund flow that will go into this sector. I think there is a clear indication from the government that this is a very important sector for us, and we really need to focus on it, and it serves the kind of the bottom of the pyramid, so to speak. So I think we'll see a lot more of that. And I think, if you, and it's also, another thing I would like to point out is that it's not just the idea that is going to make it happen. Ideas are probably, 10% of the overall picture. And, having a great idea is fantastic, but figuring out how to execute that, the execution is, to me, is 90% of the game. If you figure out how to execute it well, I think that's really the key to success. Everything else follows. So people are, if they're thinking about it, don't let the thought of that, hey, the funding is going to be a challenge. Don't let that, stop you, because once you are in it, there will be ways that you haven't even thought about today that you'll be able to succeed.
Great.
Tushar, the other thing that, I'm sorry, interrupting on this, on the financial side specifically, एक चीज जो मैंने पापा से सीखी और अभी भी हम लोग कंपनी में प्रैक्टिस करते हैं कि कोई भी नया प्रोजेक्ट भी लेते थे, फॉर रियल एस्टेट यू मूव फ्रॉम प्रोजेक्ट टू प्रोजेक्ट, हरदम एक सवाल पूछते थे कि इसका मेरा इन्वेस्टमेंट कितना है, मेरा वर्स्ट साइड मैं कितना पैसा रिस्क कर सकूं, जिससे कि मैं अपने बिजनेस को, व्हाट इज माय रिस्क एपेटाइट, डेथ लेवल रिस्क नहीं लेना है, इतना रिस्क अगर अपने लेकर के कर सकते हैं तो वंस यू डिफाइन योर रिस्क एपेटाइट इट बिकम्स स्लाइटली इजियर. People don't define their risk appetite, and then that is when they take a lot of beating.
I think
and mentally बहुत हारने लगते हैं before you lose the money also, because you have not mentally prepared yourself to be willing to lose that much money. You are not able to, so it's like a spiral. वो आप चक्रव्यूह में फंस जाते हो, जैसे ही थोड़ा सा लॉस होने लगता है आप चक्रव्यूह में फंसते चले जाते हो और आप गलत डिसीजंस लेने लगते हो. So you have to be very clear कि हमारा रिस्क एपेटाइट कितना है, how much am I willing to lose, and how much if I'm willing to lose will not break my basic living. So I think if you can get that thought, your chances of success become better.
Yeah, I think very well defined, Vishal. I think in whenever I meet people, and people always ask that यार risk नहीं ले सकते, risk लेना बड़ा मुश्किल है. And personally I feel, Samir, I think you can answer me on that when you are a management trainee, like a lot of people have pointed that, Tushar, you were getting 17,000 rupees. It was very easy for you to take the decision and then move forward. But I'm getting right now 1.7 crore rupees of package. How can I lose my job and go for the entrepreneurship? So I think you had that experience, Samir, that you were getting that kind of status, and how that point. I'm sure, like in short words, if you can just tell us that what was the how you had that kind of courage, or that kind of kick that you could lose that comfort and jump to the entrepreneurship. How could you take that risk?
Yeah, I mean it's not an easy decision, as you rightly pointed out. I mean it's as hard as it is, any job is. at the end of the day, you know that there will be a paycheck that will come into your bank account, and you don't have to worry about that. As an entrepreneur, you don't know that, and you just don't have an idea in terms of where it's going to take you. So there's a level of uncertainty that exists with it, and as Vishal rightly pointed out, there are people who can manage that uncertainty and understand and have an appetite for it, and then there are others who don't, and neither one is good or bad. It's just different types of approaches to life. It's not to say that entrepreneurship is the only way, or setting up your own company is the only way. But for me, I think it was I was at a point in time where, to me, it was like I had achieved a lot of what I wanted to achieve in life up until that point, and to kind of think about the next level or the next scalable opportunity, I could have continued the path that I was, but honestly, it was not completely satisfying for me. So it wasn't something that I felt that was giving me the professional or personal satisfaction that I needed, and I knew I needed to do something different, and that's really what the driving force for me was.
Great, Samir. I think before we jump to, we have done a survey with people, those who are on the kind of in attendees, and we got a very interesting survey to share over here on the panel. Before we reach to survey, I think I would like to summarize what Samir has said, that I think belief is very important word in your life. And I think when I was sharing my thought with one of my friends, Shiraz, he summarized that, Tushar, you are talking about belief. And I think today when I heard you, Samir, I message to all the people who are in the room, I would say your belief make you different. Your belief is the element which push you to create different. And till the time you don't believe yourself and don't you believe in your dreams, I think nobody will believe in your dreams. I still remember, Samir, I would like to share when I was in my college, and like a lot of I can see my friends are in the attendees. They used to say Sheikh Chilli, Hindi mein God hota Sheikh Chilli. You are a Sheikh Chilli, I always, I always, sharing my dreams. I want to just have this or that or this. I think having good dreams is also important, Samir, which I could figure it out that even like we want to be an entrepreneur, a businessman, or a great employee of your company or CEO of your company. If you have started from government training, if you don't think 1,000 times.
में कहते थे ना कि हवाई किले बनाना बड़ा जरूरी है, तो वो हवाई किले जब तक नहीं बनाओगे तब तक वो आप एंटरप्रेन्योर नहीं बन सकते हो, तो वो बहुत जरूरी है हवाई किले बनाना.
And I think, in one thing which I've, fortunately, I could get access to a lot of leaders around the world. And I find one thing that, till the time you don't think 1,000 times, if you need 1 rupee and if you start thinking about 1,000 rupees, people might laugh at you, but you will definitely get 10 or 20 rupees if you are even chasing for 1 rupee. So I think having your I think play field wider is very, very important. And before, I think there are very interesting survey results are there, and after that we will discuss few other things about technology, Samir. But just a minute. So we have asked one question. Entrepreneur is not only a job; it is an achievable mindset. This was the topic theme, and I'm just coming to state the questions. So, do you have fear losing your job because of this COVID-19 situation? We have asked to everyone who has registered for this conference. And you will be surprised, only 10% people said that they are having any job loss, fear. I think it's a very good situation, Samir. And I think more than 60% people have said they don't have any fear. They are absolutely safe. And I think 25% people are saying to a certain, limit, they are thinking. But I think the good situation is like 55% people are saying there is no job loss. Vishal, would you like to say something about it?
Okay, so one, I think whatever we've heard from the government, infrastructure spends are going to go up. Lot of roads, lot of ports, lot of waterways. So infra में तो अभी बहुत काम होने वाला है. So as far as specifically in the building line, I think there's going to be a lot of work. As far as job losses are concerned, I have got a very mixed view. So a lot of people are not as worried about, a lot of business verticals are not worried, but there are a few businesses which are going to certainly have some concerns, like I think tourism or hotel industry. I think airline industry. These are industries where you will see some job losses, and will they have a percolating effect in other industries and some job losses there? That's something that I do see visible.
Great.
But so my only thing is, I think we need to think differently. I think with every problem there comes an opportunity. So while we will lose jobs in some traditional businesses, there will be jobs that are going to be created in new opportunities. How ready are we to find those opportunities and find those jobs and change ourselves is, I think, the real question in front. Not really is job loss the big problem.
I think you have said very rightly, Vishal, which again, I'm just telling you, I think every circumstances, every problem in your life is an opportunity. How you look at which lens you use for you're looking at that problem, I think that is very important. Guys, like my suggestion to everyone, no problem is a problem till the time you don't solve it. Okay, so look at opportunity and try to be irreplaceable in your company, and that will happen only by thinking like an entrepreneur. Okay, be irreplaceable in your company. Now I'm just coming to the next question, which is, have you ever wanted to start something of your own but lack the confidence or capital to do so? So the question is very simple, that आपने कभी जिंदगी में सोचा था कि कोई काम अपना शुरू करें, because of पैसे और capital की वजह से आप उसे capital और confidence की वजह से आप नहीं कर पाए? And very interesting answer we are getting over here, Samir, that 70% people are saying they thought about this, and then 20% people are saying perhaps, and 10% people are saying no. So I think it's a very interesting survey results are coming that everybody think like entrepreneur. Some people cross the border, some people are below the border, before the border. Samir, would you like to say something about it?
No, I think that just speaks to the kind of the entrepreneurial mindset we as Indians have. I think that we are just born like that, and we are always we're trained to kind of figure out how to make things happen, whether it is by jugaad or by something else. So I think I'm not surprised with that result. And again, what I would reiterate on that, मैं फिर वही बात बोलूँगा कि don't let the lack of funding be a impediment or a hurdle for you. Get out there, put your idea out in the market, think about it, get to the right people. And if you have a good idea and a good execution, you will be able to build a business around it. And whether that is a small business or a big business is really something that you will not know and really comes to fruition much later. But don't let that hold you back, is what my advice would be.
Thank you, Samir. I'm getting a lot of questions on window and chat and everywhere. So I would request everyone, those who want to ask question, please raise the hand and write your question in Q&A session. We will be summarizing this survey, and after that we will start Q&A session. So please write your question in the Q&A box and raise your hand. The next question is very interesting, Samir. Which do you feel is more crucial for success, idea or execution? I think it's 100 billion. It's $1 billion question.
For me, that answer is very easy. I think it's 90%.
Let get the answer from the survey, and then we will come back to you. So I think people are saying 20% people are saying idea, and 70% people are saying execution, and 10% of people are saying neither of both. So I think without even discussing this is clear that people understand that execution is more important than idea. Samir, back to you.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's exactly what I would say. I mean, I think, you can have the best idea in the world, but if your execution is not great, then, you will not be able to kind of build a large successful business. And I think there are, multiple examples of that. Even if you look at the really large companies like a Google or a Facebook, when they started in each of their segments, there were at least 7 to 10 companies that were doing the exact same thing as they were doing. I don't know if people remember Orkut, or even people remember Microsoft Bing, which still has, I think, 10% market share or something, which is the competitor for Google. But there's a reason that Google is where it is today and Facebook is where it is today, while the others nobody even remembers, whether they were around. So I think they all had the same idea, they all had the same and none of these companies lacked funding either. They all got funded very, very heavily also, every single one of them, but there were only few companies that came out and became as successful as they did. So I think ideas are good and it's great to have that, but until you have the right execution in place, and we use a term called relentless execution. मतलब कि आप रुक नहीं सकते हो, आपको लगे रहना पड़ता है रोज, every single day you have to get on it and you have to make sure that you're making things happen.
I think yeah, please.
I just wanted to add to Samir. I think relentless execution is a must. It's you can't do away with it. But I would just from a technology perspective, like a Facebook or Google, it's a winner takes all. But in most industries, there is room for a lot more people. So I don't think people need to get crazily worried about that. It's a winner takes all business model. Real estate, so many people exist, or in your line of business, there are so many other people who will coexist, and it's not going to be a winner takes all situation.
Absolutely.
I would like to say something on this, that I think idea and execution both are having importance for their own place. If you don't have any idea, how will you execute it? Okay. I would say that most of the people see only the success side of the entrepreneur. If you ask me, people know me for SKB, a successful venture, but they don't know that how many ideas have failed, how much money I've burnt on different ideas and failed, not able to took those ideas, take these ideas further. So I think, friends, I would like to advise here that having ideas, having dreams, having many ideas in your mind is not a bad idea. You should always have ideas, but take that idea to execution is also important. And I think 80% people are saying the same. I'm moving to the next question. What percentage of risk is acceptable to you in career-related ventures? It's a very, very interesting question, and I'm getting 60% answer. Just a minute, I think some technical error in this question, so I'm going to next question. Do you believe entrepreneurship has to necessarily about starting something of your own? I think we've discussed many times in our starting phase of this conversation, and interesting answers are 40% people says yes. I think starting your own is entrepreneurship, and 20% people are saying perhaps, and 10% people are saying no. And interesting answer, 25% people are saying not really. I think, Vishal, do you want to say about this?
Very clearly, I mean, we've spoken about this already, Tushar. I think it will be just a repetition that entrepreneurship is a mindset, and you could be an entrepreneur in your while you're on your job. All of us, all businesses are looking for people who can make things happen. They are entrepreneurs in your organization. We all know that, and we go to them. You'll hear people saying, "Yeah, sara kaam to mujhe hi milta hai." Those are the guys who are actually executing so much more.
Yeah,
they have the ability to actually bring resources together and solve a problem better than anyone else, and that's really entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
simple.
I think one very important aspect over here, Vishal, like I think there are I think 250 people are in the room, and I would like to say that when organization is giving you more work, an organization giving you more pressure, when you are irreplaceable in your organization, you should always thank to your God that you are at the right place. You are at the right spot in the company. Don't feel that company is giving me more job because nobody else is doing. This is not a correct statement. Most of the entrepreneurs give the job to their trusted people, those who can do the job, those who can solve that problem very innovatively, those who are ready to take extra mile, go extra mile and solve that problem. So I think it's a right answer for that. And very interesting question. We are just about to finish in that question survey. What is the most important trait of an entrepreneurial mindset according to you? So we have given resilience, innovation, persistence, and confidence, the 4 criteria. And interestingly, resilience is 5% people have accepted, innovation is 15%, and 40% people have, I think, answered for persistence. And then another 35% people have said confidence. Samir, over to you.
No, I think the Nickmarians have understood what it takes to be an entrepreneur, and it really is persistence. and having the confidence to make sure that you don't give up, and just keep going with it. I would completely agree with the survey results. I think without persistence, you cannot be an entrepreneur.
So I would like to say one thing, Samir, over here, my personal experience, I think you can say belief, or you can say persistence, or you can say conviction. I think, if you are not persistent in your idea, in your journey, if you are not having that kind of conviction in your way or way out, I think you can't be successful. And personally, I feel like the 3 C's in my life has worked very well: credibility, commitment, and conviction. I think these 3 C. So my father runs a kirana shop in my village, and they don't understand these English words, but they understand that customer के साथ भाव बना लो, customer के साथ हिसाब बना लो, और customer के साथ प्यार बना लो. So these are the 3 words. If you follow those 3 words, if you are trusted by your customer, trusted by your vendors, trusted by your peer group, your team. I think in COVID situation, every entrepreneur is going through the same situation. If their employees are trusting him, he's feeling more strong. If employees are trusted by the employer, they are feeling more strong. So I think that trust and credibility is very important in our life. And apart from that, I think commitment, Samir and Vishal, I feel why Ashiana Housing and Ashiana Housing today? Because you have created a trust or commitment with your people, your employees, with your I think your customer. And Samir, I think your way of connecting with your clients are again come in 3 words. So I would like to say to all of people, those who are in the room, credibility, commitment, and conviction. These are the 3 words we should always carry with us as an employee, as an entrepreneur, as a businessman. Now I'm coming to the next question. What is your end goal? I think most interesting question out of this survey. So wealth, respect, all around success. So 10%, below 10% people have said wealth. About 10% or below 20%, like you can say 12% people are saying respect, but 80% people are saying all round success. I think they're all Azharuddin or Dhoni. So I think this is a very good answer. Vishal, would you like to say something about it?
So for me personally, Vishal, I think business is purpose. It is really being able to solve a problem better than people's problem, better than anyone else. If you can do that, you will get success. Cash and profit are like oxygen to the business. You can't do without them, but they're not the purpose of business or purpose of entrepreneurship. If you get that right, you will 99.9%. The rest is, of course, the Lord above. But 99.9% you will succeed if those are in place. So I think really understanding a need of a customer, what he's really willing to pay for, and matching it with your passion, that can you solve it better than anyone else? Do you enjoy doing that? There are people who like to take sick assets, they like to solve the problems and rekindle it. They enjoy it. It's fun for them. Somebody hates it.
Yeah.
So are you really passionate about the work, the problem that you're solving? If you are really there, you will make it. Money, we've all discussed it previously also. It will come. Money will find a good purpose led thought process. So I think that's really where you need to figure it out. And talking to customers, meeting people is a sure way to find that need. And today, in today's environment, because of this big disruption, a lot of new needs are going to come.
Yeah, I think one very interesting next question is on the survey is like, do you foresee technology as a disruptor to the construction industry in coming years? I think this question goes to you. I feel personally, before you answer that, post this COVID-19 situation, the way this real estate industry will be disrupted by technology, nobody can imagine. Like, people will be not going for site visits, not going for, physical, builder visits, not having too much of, site meetings. I think technology will play a big role. Samir, what is your take on this?
No, I mean, clearly that is, we are all believers in that, and which is why, we set up this company, because we believe that, the way forward in terms of, building more efficiently and building at scale can only happen through technology. So I think from that standpoint, we are very much, huge believers of that opportunity. I think, I see a difference even in the last, 3-4 years since we started this company. I think when we started it, and I know, pretty much all the, real estate developers in the country and everyone we would talk to, I think the first reaction would be like, हमारी इंडस्ट्री में कोई यूज ही नहीं करेगा या करता नहीं है अभी, एंड उससे भी पहले बोलते हैं कि भाई ऐसा कुछ प्रोडक्ट बन ही नहीं सकता इंडिया के लिए. So I think that mindset in the last 2-3 years has changed dramatically. I think we've seen the kind of shift away from that thinking. Also, I think the nature of the industry itself has changed. The industry is starting to become more professional, both on the construction and the real estate side. And I think ultimately when a customer sees fundamental value being created out of technology, I mean, just saying technology for technology's sake is not good enough. It has to make someone's life better. I mean, either it has to save you time, it has to save you, cost, it has to make your process more efficient. So to the extent that there are products that do that, I think it's just a matter of time, when the rest of the industry continues to adopt that. And we are seeing that, our progression has been in the same way. So I fundamentally believe, and you can also see that actually in the amount of money that is now flowing into this sector. I think even the venture capital ecosystem, which historically was not very, construction has never been a sector that they were very focused on. And now in the last 2-3 years, even in India, you see a lot of money flowing into that space. So I think, it's a great time from that standpoint. And I think, COVID will definitely create a huge amount of opportunity for technology, because simply, bringing everybody onto a digital platform is essentially physical distancing by its nature, and that's going to be the need for the next 12-18 months at least, or beyond, until we find a vaccine for this virus. So I think it's going to present some very interesting opportunities over the next 12-18 months to build businesses that are technology based, that can take advantage of that. So I think you're absolutely right in saying that.
I will be taking the last question from the.
Tushar, can I just add something to that?
Vishal, please.
I thought real estate was a very primitive and slow to adapt technology, but ये COVID के समय में it has taught, it has made habit out of a lot of people, and they're enjoying the technology. They're getting used to technology. People who couldn't even think that they could work from home are working from home over the technology. So I think there's going to be a big shift in adoption of technology, because this has taught us, people who are just not willing to adopt technology have started using.
Great answer, Vishal. And before I cover my last question on the survey, I would like to say, people, those who raised hand, please ready with their camera and microphone. I might pick anyone to get on the screen, so ready with their mic and camera. And the last question which I would like to cover is, with the scope of growth in the construction industry in India, do you see yourself leveraging an entrepreneurial mindset to harness this opportunity? Sorry guys, I just forgot to give you the answer for the technology disruptor is or not. 80% people, 40% people, Samir, have answered that yes, definitely technology will be disruptor. And then 31% people have said to a certain, and less than 30% people have said not really. So I think it's a story where there are a lot of data has to be given. But I would say there are guys, everyone in this room, I would like to advise, there are so many ways you can search about PropTech, which is happening worldwide, globally, LinkedIn, Google. Go and get solution for your company. Some company will always thank you when you do research and find new ways how you can track your project, how you can make better project reports, how you can make Matterport is like example where you can scan your site and send it to your management. There are Plan Field. There are so many PropTech companies, those who are disrupting, and I'm sure that Nick Marians can do a lot of research on Google or LinkedIn and search some technology, be innovative, go to your management that, boss, I have searched this technology for you. I can solve your problem. And trust me, that will be the first day of your entrepreneurship. That will be the first day when you start disrupting your company's culture. Now I'm coming to the last question. So the question was, with the scope of growth in the construction industry in India, do you see yourself leveraging an entrepreneurial mindset to harness the opportunity? So 40% people say yes. 15% people say yeah to a certain point. 25% people say too early to tell, and 10% say can't say. So I take the first answer, yes. This COVID, I think growth in the construction sector will give a lot of opportunity to the people to become entrepreneur. And I think Ministry of Highway has recently released 25,000 crore rupees to the company, those who are working on highway sector. I think Samir, you have told me yesterday. And there are a lot of new highway projects, infra projects are coming on the way. This is the right time to search and make opportunities for your company, not only for you, for your company also. That boss, I have seen this and this in this newspaper and this news. I think this is a time you can do research globally, what is happening, what are the upcoming trends, and this will help you and your company. I'm coming to the question answer session, Samir, and I'm just taking first question from Ridhima Gupta. I'm just allowing her to talk, and I'm taking her on the panel. Ridhima Gupta. Hi Ridhima, can you hear us? Hi Ridhima, can you hear us?
Hi Tushar, yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but I can't see you. No problem. You please ask your question.
Okay, just a second. I had mentioned my question there in the screen. My question to you was that, since you said that finding a problem is more important. So I just wanted to help you guys. I just wanted you guys to help us to understand, कि construction industry में currently what do you feel are the problem points? Because sitting at a higher level or at a level where you are, you can have a better view at the industry than what me as a person can see. And maybe some problems which you can share with us can give us a clue to understand where there are opportunities for people to probably get into entrepreneurship for themselves.
So Ridhima, thank you for asking this question. And I would say construction industry is not a construction industry, it is a problem industry. Okay, so there are plenty of problems around you. You need to. And second thing, what business you are in, which company you are working with?
Tushar, I work with Azazo Dividers, which is into interiors. Okay. They do interior fit outs, and it's based out of Delhi. It's like similar industry as you are.
Okay, so Ridhima, I'll just give you without even I don't want to start your business, so I'm giving you some problem statement. Your business is about acoustics and stuff like which is in India there are a lot of acoustic problems. Okay? Every client is complaining, and when you import the material from international market, is very expensive when you import from Europe. How can we develop some material in India? How can we search some material in India and provide on a reasonable cost, but the better aesthetics, better design? And I think it is a great problem to solve. Thank you, Ridhima. Thank you for coming over here. And,
thank you, Tushar.
Thank you. I'm taking the next question from Anjani Mandana.
Good evening, guys. Good evening, Tushar. Good evening, speakers, Samir. And I'm an entrepreneur by myself, and I'm a part of Agni as well for hosting this show for you. And I would like to ask, in this COVID situation, many of the businesses are on the verge of suicide, I would say. Small startups which were just cropped up. So what is your suggestion or a word of advice for them to just keep afloat? And I have another question as well. Throughout your journey of entrepreneurship, what has kept you motivated throughout?
Samir, over to you.
Sure. No, I think that's a great question given the current situation we are in. And Anjani, I can completely understand when you say that, a lot of small businesses are actually being put into a situation where it is going to be very difficult for them to survive this because this is an unprecedented situation. I don't think anybody, in our generation, even in our parents' generation, has seen anything like this. I always say, I've been in the industry so long that I have, this is my 5th financial crisis that I am seeing. And almost always one thing is for sure, that there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. And you really have to, set yourself up to survive that process or that, churning that is going to happen. And my advice would be, whatever business you are in, sit back, take a very hard look at your cost structure and say, what are the costs that are absolutely essential to keep myself going for the next 12 to 18 months. Because this is not something that will have a solution in the next 4 months. It will take 12 to 18 months for this to come back to normal, if we can call that. So look at your, cost structure very, very closely. Make sure that you are setting yourself up for, kind of getting through this over the next 12 to 18 months. Now, that's not to say that there is no new business that will come in the next 12 to 18 months. There will be, I think construction will be one of the industries that will start much faster than everybody else. We are already seeing that. I think the government is very focused on getting construction started very quickly, simply because it feeds the bottom of the pyramid. So the construction laborer is something that is of extreme interest to the government. So they want to make sure that the construction laborer has a job and gets the daily wages they are getting. But it's not going to be easy. So cut your expenses as much as you can and plan for at least a 12 to 18 month, storm, so to speak.
So, Anjani, I would like to, add one thing to Sameer's answer before you go off screen. There are two, I think one book which I have read when I was in DLF, Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish. That is the one biggest motivator in your life. Always stay hungry and stay foolish. And another thing which I personally enjoy, or I personally, follow in my life, always set, different goals, change goalposts every time, every year, every month. My wife is not happy with me that every time you say that I will complete this and then I will be little, comfortable. But next time, whenever this is done, I'm setting the next goal. So fundamentally, you should always stay hungry and stay foolish. And one thing very important, what I feel, people have urge to join Google. All technology, people, they want to join Google. They someday want to work for Google. Why? Because the Google is a great company to work with. Same I feel today, my company SKV should be Google of my industry. That is a good motivation to work with. It might take 5 years, 2 years, 3 years, maybe some other day, people will feel that I need to join this company because this is the Google of this industry. So keep some new challenges, new goals in your life, and I'm sure that you will be always motivated. Thank you. Thank you, Anjani.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Vishal. Thank you, Sameer.
Anulek Agrawal. Yeah, Anulek, please ask your question.
Good evening, Tushar, Vishal, and Sameer. Tushar, my question was how to overcome, having the, issue of right setup employee hiring at the very initial phase of your business setup. Like at the very initial phase, you don't have that much of funds to, spend on the employees. Plus the trust issues are there. Suppose in case, if you hire a wrong person and you appoint him as a good position, and he kind of, damages your reputation or your goodwill with the client. So how to overcome this kind of challenges? Like, we don't have a good name as of now. So what would you guys suggest at, very initial phase, what can be done?
So I think, very good question, and I would try to pass to Vishal, but as you have asked to me, so I will answer you first. There is no fixed formula when you start your business. So that's why I have told you, like your when you are starting this journey, people those who you interacted with before, starting this journey, they will help you to find out new people, connect you with new people, and when you start this journey and you interacting with your employee, creating that credibility is very important. Some of the people will fail you. Some of the people will bite you. Some of the people will, make the circumstances that you stop trusting others. But this is not the end of the world. You have to, again, start the same feeling that I want to trust everyone. I want to, get the best out of him. And I keep telling all the people, those who are working with me in my company, that when I go back to home, I think all the people, those who are working with me, trustworthy, honest, and working for me day and night. When I go back to the office early in the morning, I start my my mind start working that how should I get the best from my people. So it is like a journey. It is not a fixed formula. There is no fixed lines which can be followed. Vishal, over to you. You want to say something on this?
I think one very important thing for hiring is hire for values. Skill is something that you can teach. So specifically in startups, we typically want to take people ki uska isme experience, and we don't pay enough attention to the value systems of that person. So you need to figure out a way to hire for values. And I think, Tushar, very important, you have to continue to trust. कोई दोस्ती तोड़ दिया तो फिर ये थोड़ी है कि नई दोस्ती नहीं करेंगे.
Yes.
We will have such bad experiences. That's how the real world works.
Yeah, I think you rightly said it's about the how the person is, how his soft skills and how his motive is. Techniques can be taught to him, but yeah, trait has to be his behavior has to fall in place with yours. Thanks.
Thank you, Anlik. Thank you very much. We have very less time, so we will take very less questions now, and we are just. I'm coming to Puneet Pandey to you. Can you just wait, Puneet? I'm just trying to set up for you. Puneet, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Please answer the question. Yes.
Yeah, I'm a practicing architect. I just want to know, how do you see architectural consultancy is going to get affected post COVID-19? And since you all are on the other side of the table, how you would want an architect to change or incorporate more deliverable in the spectrum?
So, answer to you, Puneet. The word is, right now in very uncertain stage. I've done a lot of research in last, 1 month globally on architecture industry, or how the work is coming, how things will change. Trust me, one thing which I would like to say with a lot of conviction. Conviction means I have done a lot of research on that this industry is gonna be disrupted. People used to call architects for their office, 2 hours sitting, 2 hours coming and going, and then people are wasting time. But now people will honor and give respect to your time, and people will be having on-screen discussions. And there will be a lot of technology coming into our business and architecture business. And I think, again, one very simple answer. People, those who are innovative and disruptive, will survive. People, those who are not going with the flow, going with the time, definitely will die. So fundamentally, the answer is, there is no less of work. In today's time, when the 2008 situation happened, I was like startup that time. There was a lot of work was coming. It is now your choice. You want to just pick up the only fresh and big jobs, or you are ready to take the small jobs also. You are ready to take the small opportunities. So you make 1 + 1 + 1 is equal to 5, or you want to just buy the 5 only. So this is the time where you are you want to be choosy, or you want to be going with the flow. It is your choice. But yes, this industry, architecture industry, has to be disruptive, to adopt technology, to adopt new measures. That is there. Thank you, Puneet.
Thank you so much.
I'm taking the last question, Samir, and we will just close this session after that. Kajal Bharadwaj, I'm taking Kajal Bharadwaj on the screen. Hi, Kajal. Welcome on the screen. Are you there? Vipin, would you like to ask anything? I can see.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah. Hi, panelists. It's a great time to hear you all. Speaking about all the entrepreneurial things to all of us. So my question to you, Tushar, is where do you see the office place trends going post this COVID-19? Since we've been hearing from a lot of entrepreneurs, like co-working spaces will be the new future of working place in India and abroad. And if the co-working places will be coming in place, then how would technology will play a vital role in this scenario? So what do you think about it?
So if you go on LinkedIn, Google, you will find a lot of new researches and new trends are coming. But my dear friend, like world is changing. Nobody knows after 3rd of May what will happen. Will the
Yeah.
start open or not? But yes, again, my answer is same. Like the disruptor will survive. People, those innovating will survive. There will be a lot of problems, lot of issues coming in front of you. But I think these problems will become opportunities for new industries. If you agree with me, there are problems post-COVID. Will be a new business line people will be starting. So thank you, Vipin. I have no certain answer, and I don't want to be astrologer over here. But yes, there will be problems. But how will it come across you? You have to see the trends. I have Manan Gupta over here. I am taking Manan Gupta on the screen, and after that we will just close the session. Ashish Yadav, do you want to ask any question?
Yeah, I mean, while I was going through Vishal's input, I mean, he has given a very important subject of risk appetite. So on that aspect, I mean, looking at the current scenario, although it's a very, a personal and subjective thing, there will be a lot of opportunities in the market. There will be a lot of, challenges people will be facing. But post-COVID, do you think, people will look into more secured and safe environment, or their risk, taking capacity will enhance or go down further? Because everybody, dream of becoming an entrepreneur, and this is a dilemma when everybody faces in their life, whether to take that plunge or not. So post this scenario, do you think it will further, become more difficult for the people to take that plunge?
Vishal, over to you.
I think huge problems bring huge opportunities, and huge opportunities will bring in a lot more new entrepreneurs. The biggest problem with the people who are already working, in fact, the old entrepreneurs are going to have a bigger problem because they're slave to their experiences. They have been doing the things that they know how to do. Their ability to change is going to be so much harder. So I think it's a huge opportunity for a new entrepreneur because he doesn't have the baggage of experience.
I think, thank you, Vishal. Thank you, Samir. Before I hand over this stage to Nikmar people, I think everybody is on the panelist mode. They can come on the screen. I would like to do, great, learning of my life, which I wanted to share over in this panel. People, I think the greatest enemy of your entrepreneur or as a successful person is your ego. Ego in terms of, ego comes in many ways. Like somebody has asked this question that how entrepreneurs have the big ego and then ego sometimes crashes them. I think ego in terms of like, why should I talk to Samir? Why should I talk to Vishal? Why should I talk to my colleague or my peer? He should come and talk to me. This is the biggest ego which people face. This is the biggest ego when on the LinkedIn, somebody or your peer group or your junior is on the LinkedIn you see, but you don't want to just send him a friend request because you are a senior. While my junior is not sending a friend request. This is the ego. Ego is when you have your peer, your manager is there, but you can learn from another manager, but you don't want to go to him because you are not in his team. It is your ego. I think, in my views, Vishal and Samir, you can add on to this. Entrepreneur, if you want to be a true entrepreneur, you should not be egoistic. You should not define your small problems like a self-respect. Self-respect is a respect given to you while you are doing something extraordinary. But when you go to your employees, when you go to your peer, when you go to your friends, there should not be ego for learning. If you can get any single bit to learn from someone, please go and bang the door. Please go and shake, you can हाथ जोड़ के अगर बॉस मुझे कुछ सिखा दो, मुझे कुछ बता दो, मुझे कुछ तुमसे पूछना है. There should not be any ego in this. The second, which I think learning, which I feel out of this panel, which I have had, to master the mindset to master your career. Your mind should not drive you. You should drive your mind. You should drive your mind. You should master your mind to master your career. Wherever you work, whatever circumstances you work, I think that will help you a lot. Now over to Nikmarians, and thank you for everyone to coming on this panel and giving your input and sharing your thought process and giving your even time to listening to us. And over to Anjani and Manav, you can switch on your screen and can start your discussion.
Good evening, everyone. That was really nice inputs on every area, and it was really nice to listen to your entrepreneurship journey, like how you started, and it's really good to see where you have reached. And we expect, like, for most of the people who have been listening to this webinar, will be taking some take-home lessons, like how you have journeyed through this, and they will also cope up with the situation. So I would quickly like to share my screen with you and um, drive through the AGNI, which is Association of Global NICMARians. I hope you all have heard about NICMAR, and we are the only approved alumni from the institute. Share my screen. Just a moment, I'll share my screen right there.
Yep. Samir and Vishal, we can just off our screen so they can share easily.
So, as AGNI, we have started 4 initiatives for this COVID as a fight against COVID-19. We as AGNI, who is a network of around 6,000 people across the globe and from various locations in India and abroad. So we all have come together as united together in this COVID situation, fighting with CSR activities and which is like delivering PPEs to health facilities and giving food support system to the needy. The second initiative, which is AGNI Ascent, which is a job support to the AGNI community, wherein because we all know industry is falling apart because of COVID. That many people are losing their jobs, and this is one initiative that we have taken to support our peers. The third initiative, which is technical sessions, which this webinar is part of, the keys to unlock the lockdown. And the fourth initiative is policy advocacy, wherein like NICMAR is present in all verticals of construction, real estate, interiors as well. We are trying to work with state and central governments, making some good and effective policies once we are in post-COVID era. So AGNI, as you all know, is a Association of Global NICMARians, and as Global NICMARians, we had a manifesto always to be benchmark our construction industry with its best construction practices globally, wherein we are trying to uplift the Indian construction industry as well with its best practices, bringing it from abroad to India, or best learning practices like the sharing knowledge and many initiatives. And we have been working as a catalyst to leverage mutual value, working with the industry, public bodies, like I told you, alumni and academia as well. So we have been organizing various technical sessions in engineering colleges and NICMAR as well, to bring people, to bridge the gap between people from the academia and the industry. And we also connect to the set of narrative to transform Indian construction industry currently. And as one of you said, that this is another opportunity for us to rewrite our problems and find new solutions. So like I said, we have representation in 800 plus organizations with an age profile of 24 to 55 years of age, pan India and globally. And every year around 2,000 plus students are coming out of NICMAR, and we are from all batches and all segments of the courses which it offers. So we are trying to bring them into industry and assisting NICMAR as well in placements. As you can see that we have a varied portfolio, like MD, CEOs, directors, and the portfolio heads, principal consultants, and now there are a lot more, around 500 plus entrepreneurs in AGNI itself. So this shows our global presence, and we intend to grow more, and we intend to spread and vertically as well grow more with the construction industry's help. And these are the people behind Agni who have been driving all the activities from the back end and front end whenever required and as and when needed. So we are a team of 11 people from various batches starting from 2001 and in 2000. Mix of inputs in the chapter, and we are young and fresh. And these are the speakers and panelists from our previous Agni events, which we had hosted across the globe at various chapter level events. Chapters, there are around 10 chapters established across the globe, and each chapter has a set of working with the main intent of Agni's manifesto. And we keep hosting events, and as you can see, there have been many profound speakers and panelists in our previous events. So we keep this journey going along, and we want to continue this knowledge sharing and entrepreneurship and leadership building, skill development, and giving back to the construction society and our own institution in various ways. And we are definitely open for many initiatives in the future as well. Thank you, Samir. Thank you, Vishal. Thank you, Tushar, who happens to be our alumni again. So thank you for being a part of our initiative of knowledge sharing in this. And Ashish, would you like to add a few things?
We are just in the end
Yeah, I think it was really a great listening to all you guys, your journey, your inputs on various subject matter related to entrepreneurship, the situation that we are going to face, the challenges, the solutions. And I really, on behalf of Agni, thank all of you, Samir, you, Vishal, Tushar, for giving us your valuable inputs, your time, and making this a wonderful webinar for all of us. Thanks a lot from us.
Thank you, Ashish. On behalf of Agni, again as an alumni of this group, I would like to say Vishal and Samir, you are very busy people, and you made your time. 1.5 hour time is like really big commitment. But thank you for coming here and sharing your insight and guiding this industry through this COVID-19 storm. And really, I'm really appreciating your efforts to come and guiding us on this time. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tushar. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Samir. Thank you, Vishal. Thank you, all the participants who have joined us.
Thank you,
here.
Vishal.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.